Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorial brought to you by Adobe Photoshop Elements Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster wanting to composite this image, this PNG, on top of this background image of the ocean. So we're going to start off with the child. We can make it a little bit smaller because you don't want it to fill the whole frame. If we're going to put the child somewhere, let's say on top of this rock, because the rock is like sideways, I think it's going to look weird because then the child could fall off. So let's mute this by clicking the eyeball here, and let's work on the rock first by making it horizontal instead of sideways like that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to grab the lasso tool, and I'm going to lasso this rock right around here like this and bring it all the way down to here. And there I go. I'm going to right click and hit copy, and that just made us a duplicate layer here that we can manipulate and put anywhere we want. Let's go ahead and take that layer and turn it sideways by clicking this little circle down here and make it horizontal so that now we could put the child on top of that. All you have to do is kind of match up here somewhere down here where it kind of looks real. And once we got it where we like it, what I'm going to do is erase the edge of the rock here that we don't want, which is going to be the blue, and I'm going to use the magic tool here, and I'm going to set this to 50%. Click here and hit delete, and that deletes all the blue. The reason I was able to use the magic tool there is because it was a solid line. Let's turn the background back on, and that's looking pretty good. We have a little bit of rock showing through from the original right here, and that's going to be easy to fix. All you got to do is grab the smudge brush and see how small it is. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. That's 100 point. I'm going to double that and make it 200 point. And this smudge brush now, we just smudge this down underneath here, and it's basically smudging the background behind the foreground rock. And that's pretty much it. Then I could just kind of swirl this a little bit so it doesn't look like it's smudged all in one direction. And that pretty much hid the background rock. Next, we're going to cut this edge off here. So I'll take that foreground and I'll make it kind of sort of see-through. Now I grab the eraser. Let's make that eraser really small, like, I don't know, 20 point. It'll depend on what size the picture is on your end. And I'm just going to basically erase the rock. And I'm going to follow this line here like this. You can make your own line if you like, but this one seems kind of like a natural place to put it. I'm going to go back and grab this opacity, go back to 100%, and I'm going to cut that out now using the polygon tool and the polygon lasso, that is. And I'll go like this, and I'm just going to grab in between, not touching either one, so that when I delete it, all I'm deleting is that outside piece. I'll double click here, hit delete, and there we go. The rock looks pretty natural. Now we have the bottom edge of the rock that we need to do a fade, because you could see this line right here. If I turn off the background, you see where that line is? So we want to fade this line so it doesn't look so awkward. Grab the eraser, and let's go ahead and make, I don't know, like a 200 point. That looks better. Now watch what happens as I erase this line. It looks really natural. You lose that cut line of the two pieces. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Let's zoom back out and look what we got here. We got us a very, very natural looking horizontal rock that you'd never know was spliced together. Now that it's flat, I'm going to go ahead and turn the child back on. Now it's going to look better to have our child on top of this. But obviously what's going on is that the child is way too big for the photo. So let's go ahead and resize the child. It's going to have to be really small here. And somewhere around here looks good. And now this is really important because it obviously looks like a 2D image on top of a supposed 3D background. So what you really want to do is do perspective now. I'm going to go ahead and go to Image, Transform, and Distort. Now I can distort the child so that you're looking at the image from the proper perspective. This child was shot at a 90-degree angle, so it's going to be directly straight. But if it was really laying here, it would be distorted like this. And this side would be distorted like that, so that the foreground is bigger than the background. That gives us this proper distortion look. So let's go ahead and put them down here like that. Next thing we do is the color correction on the child to match the background scene. And then we'll do shadows after that. with this particular photo, I'm looking at what's happening here with the background. So the background is daylight, which is around 5,600 degrees Kelvin. The child looks like it was shot 1,000 Kelvin, so it's a little bit on the blue side. So what we want to do is make this child look more like he was really outside, which would be hotter temperature, more tan, more reddish a little bit, because the sun would be out on the child, giving him more color, different color temperature. Before I change the color of the kid, I want to duplicate him, because when I change the color of the kid, it's going to also change the color of what he's wearing in this blue. So I want to make a duplicate. So there's 2 layers, and I'm going to turn off the background layer for now. Let's work on the top layer. On the skin tone, this is a cheat, because Elements doesn't have a real color temperature change, but there's a quasi-cheat way to do it. If you go to Enhance, Adjust Color, Adjust for Skin Tone, this gives us an option to change the skin tone color. Obviously, it's going to also change the blue too, but that's why we made a copy to get rid of that later. It gives us a little eyedropper here. I'm going to click on the skin right here, and now I can give him a little color change. The blush is going to change the color temperature. And as you can see, I can change the tan. Watch the kid's skin tone. It just changed. And the blush, that changes the whole skin tone. So I'm going to go like this, and you can see the skin tone getting a little bit redder. Now I can show you the before and after. See, it's lighter blue. Now it's more redder, as if the sun was shining on him. That's basically all we need to do. The temperature down here is too drastic. So once we got that, if I really want to change the temperature, I can put him more in daylight or more outside. You can see how that changes. He's more in the greens. But let's go ahead and back and put him right around here. Green. So let's go ahead and get rid of the green, the top layer, with the eraser. I'm going to grab a 50-point brush here and just basically erase away here. And that basically is going to turn it back to blue. I'm going along the edge of the skin, making sure not to grab the skin. If I turn off all of the layers, now I can see exactly what I did. Let's go ahead and grab our polygon tool and get rid of the portions that we don't want anymore, which is that one and that one. That leaves us just the skin. When we turn the background back on, it's blue again. See that? That's exactly what we want to do. I'm going to go ahead and marry these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to right click up here and hit merge down. Finally, let's turn everything back on. We got our kid where we want him, and let's go ahead and work a little bit with the shadows. So I'm going to make an empty layer between the kid and the top of the rock. I'll hit new layer, and that gives us a new blank layer. Let's go ahead and grab a brush, choose the black color, and now we want to make sure that the brush down here is a soft brush. So we just scroll down until we find a nice soft brush, and then look for a nice big one. So we can, I don't know, choose like a 150 or so, and now we just basically draw a little bit of a drop shadow underneath, because he would be leaving dark underneath. And like this, right there. I'm going to lessen the opacity. I'm going to do 2 passes with this so that it looks realistic. And that's pretty much it. All we got to do now is go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, because realistically in this position he would not be perfectly sharp. So I'm going to go to Blur, Gaussian Blur, and you can see if I add a lot, it'll be like way too much. I can bring it back, and we're probably just going to have to add very little, like 0.5%. It's really, really subtle. We can zoom in and we'll see. There he is, laying on the rocks, just like a little mermaid. Anyway, this is the tutorial for today. This is Rich calling it quits, saying over and out.